وصحبه ومن والاه من كل عمل صالح. This night of Jumu'ah, it's a blessed night. There's all a barakah in this night. The sunnah is to increase your salah upon the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام and all good deeds. Within the theme of outreach, I'm going to narrate to you a hadith that is a little bit of it's a gem that you don't find in a lot of collections. It's very specific where you'll find it, and it's one of my favorites. So I'll narrate it to you. Inshallah, you'll find it. You'll enjoy it as much as I do. يروي الإمام البيهقي في شعبه بسند حسن عن خالد ابن الوليد رضي الله عنه قال. So the hadith is in the collection of Imam al-Bayhaqi called Shu'ab al-Iman, and Imam al-Bayhaqi has a few collections where they're all similar in terms of he uses the same hadith for all of them, but this is the one that most scholars are interested in authenticating. And it has a reasonable chain of narration, and Khalid ibn al-Walid is not a narrator of hadith. We don't have a lot of hadith there. And this is really not a hadith. This is him just telling us a piece of his story that is definitely worth sharing. This is what he said. قال لما دخل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مكة في عمرة القضية تغيبت ولم أشهد دخوله. When the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام entered Mecca during the Umrah that he made after Hudaybiyah. Now, if you remember, he went for Umrah عليه الصلاة والسلام, and of course this was his plan to force Quraysh's hand to a treaty. They didn't let him actually perform Umrah. So the agreement in the treaty of Hudaybiyah was that you'll come back next year and you'll do it next year. So he did. And that was called Umrah al-Qada or Umrah al-Qadiyah, where he came back and made up for it. And it was an important moment because he hadn't been in Mecca for a long time, and it was very sentimental, very emotional for him alayhi salatu wasalam to perform this Umrah, and the people who observed it, they talk about it quite often. So Khalid said, I wasn't there. I purposefully was absent that time. I didn't witness his entering Mecca. Him entering Mecca, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Umrah was was an obstacle to be witnessed, or it was something to be seen. The Sahaba who witnessed it talk about them witnessing it. They said, I was there that day. I saw him enter Mecca, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it was a beautiful moment for everyone. And he said, I purposely didn't do it, as if he's regretting that he didn't do it. قال وقد كان أخي الوليد بن الوليد قد حضر مع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عمرة القضية وسأل عني فلم يجدني وكتب إلي كتابا. My brother الوليد ibn al-Walid, right? That's his name. This is common. They used to do this back in the day. There are some scholars where their names are Muhammad ibn Muhammad ibn Muhammad ibn Muhammad ibn Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Muhammad, and it keeps on going for a couple of times. And this is actually quite common. Now it's changed. Now you call your son by the name of your father. So you have, Muhammad ibn Abdu ibn Abdu ibn Muhammad. It keeps on going back. And I know a couple of Lebanese family here who have at least 6, and a Palestinian one as well. And I think it's a beautiful tradition, by the way. I don't think it should stop. There's respect there's a certain degree of wisdom in respecting the names of the people who your ancestors gave you. Anyways, so Al-Walid ibn Walid attended with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam Umrah al-Qadiyah, and he was accepted Islam. And he asked about Khalid when he came to Mecca, and he couldn't find him. So he left Khalid a letter. He wrote a letter. And this is what the letter said. قال كتب فيه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فإني لم أرى أعجب من ذهاب رأيك عن الإسلام وعقلك عقلك ومثل الإسلام يجهله أحد. He said, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and merciful, there's nothing that's more confusing to me in this world than your opinion of Islam being what it is, and you have the mind that you have. He's saying, I know you're my brother, you're brilliant. The most confusing thing for me is, how is it that you don't seem to see Islam? And no one, and Islam is not something to be lost upon. Islam is not something for you to miss out on, or for you not to notice the beauty within it. It's very confusing to me that this is the case. وَقَدْ سَأَلَ عَنْكَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. And the Prophet asked about you. فقال أين خالد? He said, where is Khalid? فقلت يأتي الله به يا رسول الله. I said, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring him to us, because he wasn't Muslim yet. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم ما مثله جهل الإسلام ولو كان جعل نكايته وجده المسلمين على المشركين لكان خيرا له ولقدمناه على غيره. The Prophet ﷺ said, someone like Khalid, it's impossible that he'll miss Islam, or he'll be ignorant of what Islam is. And if he used all of his effort, now look for the context. Yes, you know the context. Khalid ibn al-Walid, he fought against the Prophet ﷺ and this Muslim a number of times, most famously in Uhud. At the time, the only actual battle that you could technically call a defeat was Uhud. If you, again, don't get upset. Technically, you could call it maybe a defeat. It was because Khalid, he was able to figure out that piece of, he saw the weakness, he flanked them, and he caused the death of, basically what he did, Sayyidina Khalid, caused the death of Mus'ab ibn Umair and Hamza ibn Abd al-Muttalib and Anas ibn al-Nadr and Abdullah ibn al-Tariq. And you're talking about Abdullah ibn Jubair, and you're talking, and the Prophet ﷺ fell and broke his tooth and he injured his face, all because of what Khalid radiallahu anhu did. So there's anyone else besides him sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the heart that he possessed would have had animosity towards Khalid. Let's say when you see him off with his head, he has caused us so much pain, he has caused so much blood. I lost my uncle, my beloved uncle. He loved Hamza alayhi salatu wasalam, like no, nothing else. He lost him because of him. But no, he alayhi salatu wasalam left a seed, a small seed. He said, someone like Khalid would not be ignorant of Islam. He's too smart. And had he used all of his, had he used all of his effort and his intelligence with the Muslims against their enemies instead of the opposite, he would have found a lot of khair for himself. And I would have put him up, I would have elevated his status. I would have put him up front. I would make sure that he was a leader. That he left that alayhi salatu wasalam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He left it. يقول خالد فلما جاءني كتابه, when I received the letter, نشطت للخروج, I found in myself this energy to leave Mecca. وزادني رغبة في الإسلام, and it increased my willingness to become Muslim, and the rest is history. And the rest is history. That's the story. And then, you know the rest. He left. He runs into Amr ibn al-As. He runs into Uthman ibn Mad'un. They talk about it. They're all kind of like, where are you going? I don't know. Where are you going? I don't know. Where are you going? And they go back and forth for a little bit. And finally they figure out, yeah, they were all kind of nudging towards going to Medina. They're like, let's all go together and give the bay'ah to Rasulullah all together. So they did. And Khalid, not only did he lead armies during the Prophet ﷺ's life, Khalid became a myth. Yeah, you guys like Marvel and DC and all that? That's garbage. Wallahi, Khalid ibn al-Walid, you want a myth? You want a real, a human, someone who turned into a human legend? Someone where people who lived during the time wondered whether he was able to actually take his sword and point it at an army and electrocute all of them with lightning bolts and kill them all? Because that's what he did. Because he literally ended the strongest empire on earth with 3,000 people within 6 months. And once he was done, he took his attention over to the Byzantine Empire and he sent them back to the middle of Europe. Radiallahu anhu wardah. People couldn't understand, who is this? This is a documented story in the Yarmouk. A guy came out and said, is Khalid here? Yes. Call him. He came and said, is it true that you point your sword and it kills everyone? And Khalid starts laughing. He said, no. He said, you're lying. You don't want to do it and show me. He said, no, it's just not the case. He said, give me your sword. He said, no, it's my sword. See, you're scared. If I take it, then I'll have the power of, whatever your sword carries. So he throws the sword. And the Muslims watch this guy holding Khalid's sword going like this. And nothing happening. Because this is what they thought. He became a myth, radiallahu anhu. Because the Prophet ﷺ left one little nice word. He said, you're too smart not to know this. If you came, we would treat you well. And it just did something in his heart, radiallahu anhu. When he became Muslim, and half of us are here today because Khalid ibn Walid did his job when the job needed to be done. Never underestimate the importance of what da'wah can do, the smallest effort of da'wah, the kind word, a nice remark, something simple. You have no idea the power of reaching out to someone else and trying to do something for them. You have no idea how far it can go. You don't know who the next Khalid or Salah or Umar, you don't know the next person. You don't know who it's going to be. We have complete ignorance on that. Just do well. Just reach out and offer someone something and you'll see the impact. You never know. You never know how much ajr. Al-Walid ibn al-Walid, no one knows him. But Al-Walid ibn al-Walid, imagine how much hasanat he banked on doing almost nothing. All he did is write a letter. And because he wrote it, Khalid, his brother, accepted Islam. Because Khalid accepted Islam, most of us here are. And Walid ibn Walid, all he did was he just pushed a little bit. He just gave it a nudge that maybe was needed. I hope that was a benefit to you. This is the month of outreach. Please continue to do that. يروي الإمام البيهقي في شعبه بسند حسن عن خالد ابن الوليد سيف الله المسلول رضي الله عنه وأرضاه قال لما قدم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مكة في عمرة القضية تغيبت ولم أشهد دخوله وقد كان معه أخي الوليد ابن الوليد حضر معه عمرة القضية فسأل عني فلم يجدني وكتب إلي كتابا فيه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فإني لم أرى أعجب من ذهاب رأيك عن الإسلام وعقلك عقلك ومثل الإسلام يجهله أحد وقد سأل عنك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم فقال أين خالد فقلت يأتي الله به فقال ما مثله جهل الإسلام، ولو كان جعل نكايته وجده المسلمين على المشركين لكان خيرا له ولقدمناه على غيره، فجاءني كتابه فنشطت للخروج وزادني رغبة في الإسلام. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. We'll see you tomorrow inshallah at 2:30 for صلاة الجمعة sharp بإذن الله تعالى. بارك الله فيكم. Have a nice night. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.